Brother made my life hell and got my wife pregnant. Now he wants my help after our parents disowned him and left me their $2 million inheritance. The phone rang at 6:13 a.m. I almost didn't answer. Early morning calls rarely bring good news. But the name flashing on my screen froze me in place. Daniel, my brother, the man I hadn't spoken to in over 3 years. For a moment, I just stared at the name, feeling that familiar tightening in my chest. Memories came rushing back. The night my wife, Emily, tearfully confessed she was pregnant with his child. The endless arguments, the humiliation, the way my family, instead of supporting me, whispered behind my back as if I had somehow failed. I picked up, but my voice was cold. Daniel, what do you want? There was silence for a beat. Then his voice, shaky but still carrying that entitled tone I remembered. Ethan, I need your help. Please. I laughed bitterly. Help? You're the last person I'd help, Dan. I think you forgot how you... I know, he interrupted, almost desperate. I messed up. I destroyed everything. But I'm out of options. I could hear something in his breathing. Panic, maybe even fear. But my guard stayed up. Cut to the point. What's going on? He exhaled shakily. Mom and Dad, they kicked me out. They said they're done with me. And the will, it's all going to you. That part hit me like a punch, even though it shouldn't have been surprising. Our parents had made their feelings clear after Daniel's betrayal. Still, hearing it confirmed was surreal. You mean the $2 million estate? I asked flatly. Yeah, he said, voice cracking. They left me with nothing. I've got nowhere to go. I'm broke. And I'm scared. A dark satisfaction bubbled inside me. For years, Daniel had everything. Charm, good looks, my parents' favoritism. He used it to trample over everyone, including me. Now the tables had turned. But part of me, the part that still remembered us as kids building forts in the backyard, felt a tiny pang. You've got some nerve calling me after what you did, I said slowly. I know, he whispered. But you're my brother, and you're all I've got left. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I looked out the kitchen window at the gray dawn. The inheritance, the betrayal, the years of silence. And now this. For the first time in years, I realized I held all the power. And I wasn't sure yet how I was going to use it. It was a rainy Thursday when my life shattered. Emily had been acting strange for weeks, avoiding eye contact, staying out late with excuses that didn't quite add up, and speaking in short, clipped sentences when I asked if something was wrong. I wanted to believe it was just stress from work. But deep down, I knew. That night, I came home early. The house was quiet except for the steady patter of rain against the windows. Emily sat at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a mug of untouched tea. Her eyes were red. Ethan, she said softly, not looking at me. We need to talk. Those 4 words have a way of freezing time. I pulled out a chair, heart pounding. Okay, what is it? She took a deep breath. I'm pregnant. For a moment, I felt a rush of joy. We'd been talking about kids for years, and I thought maybe, just maybe, this was a turning point for us. That's amazing, I said with a nervous smile. We can. It's not yours, she whispered. The words hung in the air like poison. My throat went dry. What? Tears streamed down her face. It's Daniel's. I pushed back from the table, my chair scraping the floor. My brother's name felt like acid in my mouth. You slept with my brother? She sobbed harder. It was a mistake, Ethan. We were drinking, you were working late, and... Don't you dare blame this on me. I shouted, my voice echoing in the small kitchen. My chest ached, my hands trembling. How long? Just once, she said quickly. It didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything? You're carrying his child. The front door opened then, and in walked Daniel. My brother, smirking like he had no idea what he just walked into. But when he saw Emily's tear-streaked face and mine twisted in rage, his smile faltered. What's going on? He asked. You want to tell him? I said to Emily. Or should I? Her voice was barely audible. He knows. Daniel's jaw tightened. He didn't deny it. Didn't even try. Ethan, I didn't plan for this. I'm sorry. Sorry. I stepped toward him. You stole my wife. You're having a child with her. And you think sorry covers it. He held up his hands. Look, I'll take responsibility. I'll help her. But you. But me what? I cut in. Get out of my house before I do something I'll regret. He hesitated, looking between us, then finally left without another word. Emily followed him 2 weeks later. That was the last time I saw them together. Until now. I didn't sleep after Daniel's call. I just lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the $2 million my parents had left me. It wasn't just money, it was a statement. They were telling the world, Ethan was the son we could count on. Daniel had burned every bridge, and now he was standing on the shore, asking me to throw him a lifeline. By morning, my phone was full of messages from him. Daniel, Ethan, please. I'm living out of my car. Daniel, I haven't eaten since yesterday. Daniel, I know you hate me, but I'm still your brother. Each text felt like a stone thrown at my window, annoying, but impossible to ignore. Around noon, I finally replied, meet me at the diner on 7th. 1 hour. When I walked in, he was already there, looking nothing like the arrogant brother I remembered. His hair was messy, clothes wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. For the first time, he looked small. You look like hell, I said, sliding into the booth across from him. He gave a humorless laugh. Hell looks better than this. The waitress poured coffee for both of us. Daniel wrapped his hands around the mug like it was the only warmth he had left. So, I began, why should I help you? He looked me dead in the eye. Because you're my brother. I shook my head slowly. You lost the right to play that card the night you slept with my wife. He flinched, but pressed on. I know. I've replayed that night 1,000 times in my head. I was drunk, I was stupid. Don't. I raised my hand. You don't get to use drunk as an excuse. You knew what you were doing. His voice cracked. Ethan, I've lost everything. Emily left me. I never even got to see the kid. Our parents won't even talk to me. I have nothing. You had choices, I said coldly. You made them. Now you're living with them. The silence stretched between us. The only sound was the clink of cups and the low hum of conversations around the diner. Finally, he said, I'm not asking for much. Just enough to get on my feet. A couple thousand. I'll pay you back. I leaned back, studying him. A couple thousand was nothing compared to $2 million. But the thought of giving him even a cent made my stomach twist. You know, I said slowly, you've spent your whole life taking from me. My parents' attention, my peace, my marriage. And now you want my money? He swallowed hard. Please, Ethan, I'm begging you. For a moment, I thought about it, about what kind of man I wanted to be. Generous? Vengeful? Indifferent? Every option came with a price. But one thing was clear. Whatever I decided, it wouldn't be out of love for my brother. That part of me was long dead. I let Daniel squirm in silence for a long moment, sipping my coffee while he stared at me like a drowning man waiting for a rope. Finally, I set my cup down. I'll help you, I said. His eyes lit up instantly, like a kid hearing he was getting a second chance at Christmas. You will? Ethan, But I cut in, raising a finger on my terms. And you might not like them. He hesitated. What terms? I leaned forward, my voice low. I'm not handing you cash. I'm not giving you a blank check to run away from the mess you've made. If you want my help, you're going to face every single thing you ran from, starting with Emily. The color drained from his face. Emily? Why? Because you left her in a mess you created. You think walking away makes it disappear? No. You're going to look her in the eye and own what you did. Daniel shook his head quickly. No, Ethan. She hates me. And I don't even know if the kid's mine. I gave a humorless laugh. You think I didn't wonder that every day after she told me? I lived with that question. Dan, you're going to get your answer, whether you like it or not. He rubbed his temples, muttering something under his breath. This isn't what I came here for. I shrugged. Then don't take it. Walk away, and you get nothing. But if you want my help, it's full accountability. No hiding, no excuses. He stared at me for a long moment, jaw tight. What's in it for you, huh? Revenge? I met his gaze without flinching. Closure. The waitress came by to refill our coffee, breaking the tension for a second. When she left, Daniel sighed heavily. And if I do this, you'll help me after? I'll consider it, I said, deliberately vague. But it starts with facing her. And it starts tomorrow. Daniel leaned back in the booth, looking like I'd just handed him a death sentence. But after a long silence, he nodded once. Fine, I'll do it. In that moment, I wasn't sure if I was giving him a lifeline or tying the noose. We met the next afternoon at a quiet park on the edge of town. I'd called Emily the night before, telling her there was something important she needed to hear in person. I didn't mention Daniel. When she arrived, she spotted me first. Then her gaze slid past me, and she froze. Daniel stood a few feet away, hands in his pockets, looking like he wanted to vanish into the pavement. Her voice was sharp. You didn't tell me he would be here. Because you wouldn't have come, I replied. But you need to hear this. Both of you do. Emily folded her arms. I don't owe him anything. Daniel stepped forward, his voice low but steady. You don't. But I owe you. And I owe him. He glanced at me briefly before looking back at her. I'm sorry, Emily. For everything. Her laugh was bitter. Sorry? That's what you've got after 3 years? You think that erases what you did to me? To him? She jabbed a finger toward me. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Daniel said. I need to take responsibility. I should have been there for you, for the baby. Her expression hardened. There was no baby. Daniel blinked. What? Emily's voice wavered, but she didn't look away. I miscarried. 2 months in. You didn't even know because you disappeared. The air seemed to go still. I'd known. She'd told me after she left him. But seeing Daniel hear it for the first time was like watching someone get punched in the gut. He stepped back, his face pale. I didn't know. That's because you didn't care enough to ask, she shot back. You wrecked my marriage, my life, and then you left me alone to deal with it. Daniel's voice cracked. I cared. I couldn't face what I'd done. I thought running was easier. Emily shook her head. Coward. The silence after that was heavier than any shouting match. Daniel's eyes were glassy, his shoulders slumped. For the first time since this whole mess began, I saw something real in him. Not charm, not arrogance, but guilt. I finally spoke. Now you understand. This is what you left behind, Daniel. This is why I don't trust you with anything, not even a single dollar. You have to rebuild from the ground up, and you have to do it without stepping on anyone else to get there. Daniel didn't argue. He just nodded, like a man accepting his sentence. 2 days passed after the meeting in the park. Daniel hadn't called, hadn't texted. For the first time in years, my phone was silent. I told myself I didn't care, that I'd done what I needed to do. But at night, lying in bed, I kept replaying the look on his face when Emily told him about the miscarriage. Shock, regret, something that might have been the start of change, or maybe just another performance. On the third morning, I found him sitting on the curb outside my building. His car was parked behind him, crammed with bags and clothes. You're blocking the driveway, I said, crossing my arms. He looked up, tired and hollow-eyed. I'm leaving town. Got a lead on a job 2 states over. I raised an eyebrow. And you're here because? He stood, shoving his hands in his jacket pockets. Because I wanted to say thanks. For making me face her. For making me face myself. He took a breath. I don't expect money from you. Not anymore. That caught me off guard. So you came here just to say that? He nodded. Yeah, I'm not proud of what I did, Ethan. But maybe I can still be someone better than the guy who wrecked your life. I studied him for a long moment. There was no slick smile, no easy charm. Just a man stripped bare. I reached into my pocket, pulled out an envelope, and handed it to him. What's this? He asked, frowning. 5,000, I said. Not because you deserve it. Because I want to see if you can actually use it for something good. You mess it up, you'll never hear from me again. He stared at the envelope, then at me. Why? Because blood doesn't disappear, even when you wish it would, I said quietly. But this is the last olive branch I'll ever offer. He swallowed hard, nodding. I won't waste it. We stood there for a moment, 2 brothers bound by the same blood, but separated by years of betrayal. Then he got into his car, started the engine, and drove away. As I watched him disappear down the street, I realized something. The inheritance was still mine, the scars were still there, but for the first time in years, the weight on my chest felt lighter. Whether he changed or not, that was his story now. 2 years passed. The $2 million inheritance sat in investments, quietly growing. My life had found a strange kind of peace. No Emily, no Daniel, no family drama. Just work, a few close friends, and a sense of control I'd never had before. Then, one crisp autumn morning, I got a letter. Not an email, not a text. A handwritten letter in an unfamiliar envelope. I almost threw it out. But when I opened it, I recognized the handwriting instantly. Daniel's. Ethan, I'm in Montana now. Been working construction. It's not glamorous, but it's honest. I wanted you to know I turned that $5,000 into my first real home. A tiny place, but mine. I've been sober for 18 months. I don't expect forgiveness, but I wanted you to know you helped me change, even if it was the last thing you ever meant to do for me. If you ever find yourself out here, there's a beer in the fridge with your name on it. Dan. I read it twice. Part of me wanted to crumple it and forget it. But another part, the part that remembered us as kids, felt something else. Not trust, not even full forgiveness, but maybe the beginning of something less toxic. A month later, I got another envelope. But this one wasn't from Daniel. It was from a law office in Montana. Inside was a short letter and a check for $5,000. Signed by Daniel. No note, no explanation, just the money. I sat there for a long time, staring at it. Maybe he'd changed, maybe not. But for the first time, I realized it didn't matter. Because whatever he did from here on out, good or bad, it was his story, not mine. And I was finally free.